We were launching a hand-dipped chicken tender, right? And I was looking for a signature sauce because you got to have a signature sauce. I think you guys know I'm a chef. I worked in the fine dining industry for a long time. Pretty sure I could come up with a sauce. I walked past one of our younger employees, and he's a dishwasher / cook, but he went to a high school tech program. Very passionate about food. Not even close to like developing a skill set yet, but like there's some potential there. And so he was talking about the chicken tenders, and I saw him eating another company's chicken tenders, and I was like, "How do you feel about that sauce?" He's like, "It's everything." I was like, "Why don't you come up with a sauce for our chicken tenders? I'll be back next week. Let's see how it goes." And so he almost gave up. And then at the last minute, he pulled something out of his hat. And I'll tell you what, I expected to have a great interaction with this young man. He's going to come back with a sauce. I'm going to sit him down. We're going to coach on flavor profiles, balance, and everything we're searching for and how it interacts with the chicken.
You're going to fix everything that he did.
Yeah, of course. And he's going to get me halfway there, and I'm going to get him halfway there. Bullshit. He hit it right out of the park. Right. I haven't changed the recipe at all.
This episode is brought to you by Halcyon Eco.
Peter, I'm so impressed with the Halcyon Eco and its ability to revolutionize the back of the house of a restaurant. What are some of the hidden costs of dirty oil?
The hidden costs associated with is look, it's very simple. It's your quality of food, your health and safety, your amount of money you spend, your environmental issues. There's a raft of things there that we discussed in great detail. The quality of your food, extraordinarily important. The health and safety of your staff, extraordinarily important. The environmental consequences, extraordinarily important. Each one is as important as the other. And for your customers sitting there, and even for some of the owners, they never really sit back and say, what are the consequences of that fryer? It is the single most dangerous piece of equipment in your kitchen.
So true.
Yet it's treated like the third cousin we don't want to come to a party because he drinks too much. And
it's the workhorse, and it's dangerous.
It's the workhorse. It's dangerous. It can set your kitchen on fire. It can kill your staff. Yet we treat it with such disregard and disdain. Any other industry, there'd be a barrier around it, stopping people from going anywhere near it. Even lighting it, we see that the ignition switches are broke, so someone's reaching in, trying to light the pilot light. They're not realizing it's switched on. They light the pilot light, the flames ignite, the thermostat is broke. They just need to start focusing on the fryer, the quality of oil, and the potential dangers associated with it when it comes to their staff standing there.
Yeah. The Halcyon Eco is a revolutionary device that will allow your staff to clean the oil, clean the fryer, and save your operation money, all the while increasing the quality of your food. Check it out on restauranttopia.com.
This is Restauranttopia. Welcome back to Restauranttopia. We are here with the fabulous trio of Brian Seitz.
Back at it. How you doing, Dave?
Anthony Hamilton.
Doing well over here, too.
All right.
Myself, Dave Ross. And Anthony's got an amazing episode for us today. Break room to the boardroom.
Correct. So I got this idea. I was thinking about the other day. I think about operations all the time. And so what if you had a company or an organization and you had this box, right, that you put on the wall? And then, as employees came up with ideas, they could, write it down on a piece of paper and then put it in that box.
How's the box
What
made?
would they write on the piece of paper?
Yeah.
Like ideas and suggestions.
Suggestions.
So I think that's what I was going to call it, actually, a suggestion box. How do you guys feel about
this
that?
This is novel. Okay. Do you use ChatGPT? Is this AI talking or is this
totally,
you?
Yeah. Circa 1982.
This is a great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that greatly, fellas. But anyway, that's a lead into what I'm talking about, because I think there is... It's aside from the people who messed up the suggestion box, like myself, I would put Tootsie Roll wrappers in there, or I'd write wise ass comments and put it in there, and we've all seen that, and that's why the suggestion box don't exist anymore.
Wasn't there the country club that had the suggestion box, it was on a 100-foot pole up and high, and they're like, yeah, where's the suggestion box? I was like, yeah, just go up there.
So I love that, right? But there's a lot of credence to the value of a suggestion box, and so it's thinking a lot about our operations and what we do. And thinking about some exercises we've done recently that I was like, man, this is really good, and maybe we should disseminate this information. Yeah. And it got me thinking again about, and a book I'm reading kind of alluded to this as well. He had a chapter on something like this. I'm like, man, we do that too. I got to talk about this. It feels good.
What's the book?
It's an amazing book. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality. Will Vidara he's a Danny Meyer offshoot. So it came out a few years ago. It's a construction guy told me about it the other day. I didn't know about it. And I was like, my God, that's my industry. He goes, no, you don't understand. It works for every business. So highly recommend you jump on Audible. You get your 30-day free trial. You listen to the audiobook on your commute, or just pick up the book and read. So it's a big proponent of what Will Guidaro and Daniel Hume do at 11 Madison Park as far as their culture and how they get their ideation. The truth is, we hire the best talent, right? That's what we're looking for. We're always looking for the best talent. And if you ask any operator about their teams, most of the time they're going to point out a handful of players, if not their whole team, that are amazing people, right? But then how sinful is it that we often don't let those people make a lot of decisions for our organization?
Yeah.
We, sitting in our chair, we're not cooking on the lines. We're not busting tables. We're not
only we know what we should do, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would we ask them?
Exactly.
We are the ones driving the bus, right?
In our ivory towers.
Sure.
Right? My frontline experience stopped in 2016 when I started, right? Like that's when it stopped. So like I'm a dinosaur now in the restaurant world as far as like, efficiencies and how things move. I couldn't cook on the line. You'd have to give me 6 months to not to. But yet here I am making decisions for what's best for efficiencies, and I'm not the one sweating it out. I'm not the one making the moves.
Yeah.
So I think top-down decision-making isn't a bad thing. Obviously, there's stuff that you have to decide as leaders that are best for your organization, that no one has your vantage point. But I would challenge operators out there, because a vast majority of these decisions that affect their staffs would be much better, not only from an operational standpoint, but more well-received if the team bought in. So that's what I want to talk about today, and talk about how to get doing that.
Well, first of all, you have to be willing to do it, right? Like,
leave that ego thing at the door
a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because again, we're joking earlier, but there is some of that where, okay, this is my business,
my money,
my
reputation.
Yeah.
Shut the F up and sit down. Like, I don't want to hear what you got to say. You know what I mean? Like,
but there are times where that's appropriate.
And
and again, how do you? And you might get into this, but I'm also thinking, like,
that's fine.
It's like don't ask, don't get a little bit.
Yeah, but
so if there could be a lot of bad ideas, and then how do you mitigate those situations where somebody comes in and it's definitely not something that you should be doing?
Yeah.
Like, how do you handle those? And you might have, that might be part of your deal, but
But also, again, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. We have our SOPs. I want you to run the restaurant this way. Let's stick with that and stop getting all these ideas up in here, and just operate like I told you to operate.
Yeah.
Like, there is some efficiencies to that, and I'm being funny.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
but you're not.
I'm not. But I'm saying, but like, I just want you to execute. I'm not asking you to reinvent pizza.
My team is not going to tell us what prime cost number we're going to hit.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, we have to decide some things.
So there are some suggestions that don't make it just kind of
correct. Yeah.
Going away.
Yeah. And again, I am playing devil's advocate here.
Please do.
But like, I do love the idea of this topic in the suggestion box, because my biggest pet peeve, and I'm hiring another employee, and I put together this manual and all this onboarding material. Like, this is the way we do something because this is the way we've always done it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a toxic statement. I want to be a job killer for this person. So if we're doing something that can be automated or can be done better, that takes 5 hours that you can do in an hour, I want you to bring that to me so we can eliminate that. Yeah. Again, I'm going full circle here with the flip side of the coin.
Sure.
But like, how many things are in your restaurant, in your operation, that your line cook knows there's a pre-made product for this from XYZ distributor?
Yeah.
We could save 2 hours, and the quality and consistency and everything is exactly the same.
Yeah. It's up to you to have an open mind.
Yeah. And I think the best terminology I've seen for this is from down at Powell's. Now it's the McClaskey Excellence Institute, but it's the best known way. Because what that does is it opens you up for, this is the best known way, but if something better comes along, like, we're open to that, and that will become the best known way.
Yeah. So if I can distill it down, the concept is you have, as an operator, you generally have a lot of wisdom, right? Most operators didn't just jump into the business. A lot of them came up through the ranks. So you have this position of wisdom. Brian's going to debate me on that. I said most. It could be 51-49.
Well, there's the skilled doctors and lawyers that want to open up a restaurant. Like,
for sure. Very skilled doctors and lawyers. Highly esteemed.
They've ate at a lot of restaurants.
A lot.
But that actually works, though.
And they enjoy being at the restaurant.
Yeah.
So I've actually left jobs as a chef because of that. And I would have, I would be doing my own menu, and I was a prideful young man, and I finally had autonomy, and I was putting my signature, because now it becomes my name in the restaurant.
It's your brand.
Right, exactly. And the owner would come in and be like, hey, I was down in Miami. I had this dish. I want you to put it on the menu. Here's the dish concept. Look at this menu. Put it on the menu tomorrow. Can I tell you how frustrating that is?
Yeah.
When it's not your style, it's not the restaurant style.
Yeah.
And then now you're at odds with the owner. And I can tell you how that goes. The dish goes on the menu.
Yeah.
Maybe in my scenario, it might have dragged my feet for 3 weeks and almost got fired because of it, but I still put it on the menu.
Yeah.
But then I tell you what I did right after that. I looked for another job. Because it was like, listen, you pay me this money. I did all this. And again, it was arrogance at the time or maybe just being egotistical.
Ego.
And I was 27, right? So at 45, I just frankly don't give a shit. Whatever's best for the business is best for the business.
Well, it goes to, are you serving your ego or are you serving the business? I just had this conversation the other day with somebody. Ego is the enemy. And no matter what that is or who you're kind of trying, like, again, we see all these TikToks like, don't give a shit what people think. And I've been thinking about that. It's like, yeah, don't give a shit about what the outside world thinks, but give a shit about what your team thinks. Give a shit about what the company.
I disagree with that statement because I do care a lot about what other people think. What I'm learning to do is stop caring about what I think other people think.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that.
Because a lot of times, like I make up things in my head, and I'm like, oh, Brian didn't talk to me. He's probably mad at me because I sent that email, and it's like, no, Brian was just preoccupied with something. Yeah, he was. He was pissed, but
little upset.
So, yeah, play with me for a minute. So you're preoccupied with a meeting that you got to get to or something else that's on your mind. It didn't even cross your mind that you didn't say hello to me, but yet I've manifested this whole hate-filled scenario in my head.
That just happened to me the other day. I'm talking to a guy. I had an early morning meeting. He calls me right before the meeting, and it was not a stressful meeting, but it was an important meeting.
Yeah.
And he starts in, and it was a rough call. I just exploded on him.
Oh,
I had to call later and apologize because I'm like, dude, you just caught me at a really bad time, and but I mean, that happens.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's, again, to boil that down, I do care a lot. If you came to tell me that something was wrong with me or you feel that I'm doing something, I care immensely about what you say and about what other people say.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Brian, not so much. Yeah, but
that's fair. Makes sense.
The truth is, again, we manifest that bullshit in our heads and then we ride with that. We think this is truth now, but it's not truth at all. Yeah. So anyway, I digress.
I like that.
Are we going to get into your episode?
Yeah.
Just one day. It's okay.
We always do this to Anthony. He comes up with these great concepts, and we're just like,
okay.
It gets the brains going, and
I don't know. I feel this
the domes are heating up. We're like,
that's it. It's a pretty fruitful discussion, no matter how we slice it. Sure. I think that's the purpose of this. But I think with your wisdom as an operator, it's important to push the naivety, which I think it's wonderful amongst employees because they don't know any better. So there's no limitations on their ideation or creativity because they don't understand the business implications. Yeah. And so you use your wisdom as a filter. You push their naive ideas through your wisdom filter, and I think that's where you land the best. And I'll give you an example. Is we were launching a hand-dipped chicken tender, right? And I was looking for a signature sauce because you got to have a signature sauce. I think you guys know I'm a chef. I worked in the fine dining industry for a long time. Pretty sure I could come up with a sauce. I walked past one of our younger employees, and he's a dishwasher / cook, but he went to a high school tech program. Very passionate about food. Not even close to like developing a skill set yet, but like there's some potential there. And so he was talking about the chicken tenders, and I saw him eating another company's chicken tenders, and I was like, "How do you feel about that sauce?" He's like, "It's everything." I was like, "Why don't you come up with a sauce for our chicken tenders? I'll be back next week. Let's see how it goes." And so he almost gave up. And then at the last minute, he pulled something out of his hat. And I'll tell you what, I expected to have a great interaction with this young man. He's going to come back with a sauce. I'm going to sit him down. We're going to coach on flavor profiles, balance, and everything we're searching for and how it interacts with the chicken.
You're going to fix everything that he did.
Yeah, of course. And he's going to get me halfway there, and I'm going to get him halfway there. Bullshit. He hit it right out of the park. Right. I haven't changed the recipe at all. Wow. He made one beautiful mistake in the spices he selected. He accidentally got smoked paprika instead of regular paprika. It was such a beautiful mistake because he didn't even know he did it. But it is such a dynamic, deep, rich, tangy, complex sauce that's perfect for the chicken tenders.
Dude, that's awesome.
I would not have come up with that sauce. Mine would have been more of a fastball down the middle. This kid came up with something zany and it tracks, and now we're using it, all over the place. Everywhere we can, we impart it because the customer response is 100%. Yeah. But I think this is a good case in point of why you got to keep your ears open. And again, just one sentence.
Yeah. I think so. I love that story for multiple reasons, but the employee development, love it. The kind of something outside the person's wheelhouse, but still within their skill set, so to speak. And then just the way to pull a resource or a solution out of a staff member. I love it. That's cool.
But also go deeper than that. So it's Friday or Saturday night. This guy's getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And he's probably would on a normal day quit.
Yeah.
And he's now probably way more loyal to the business, more loyal to Anthony. Like the whole culture that creates of
Yeah,
him being a part of that
is
amazing.
For sure. So you said ego is the enemy earlier, and I would agree to you for like the back half of ego, but the front half of ego is where we get our motivation. And so in Dave's scenario right there, the ego is exactly what I played to with this kid. That's why he's sticky and loyal. It's just keeping your ego at bay, I think, is the most important thing. So that being said, to your point, Brian, it's the inclusivity matters with these decisions, right? Yeah. It's not just me giving a recipe and that employee say, I could come up with something better. This sucks, right? Yeah. It's like, well, think you can, hotshot. Let's go. Let's talk, Even including them in a process that now becomes stakeholders in everything that you're doing.
Letting them test the food. I think that's something big. We talk all the time about as the server actually had this meat. Like, that's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I used to do all menu changes, and now I just audit menu changes. And I think that's a good progression to be in, right? So it's more along the lines of like, I know I can change a menu. I know I can research and come up with a sandwich. But you guys are young culinarians. Why don't you come up with the sandwiches? So then we have round tables and we talk. And then I guide the conversation. And it's like, no, that's a stupid idea. Let's do that with this instead. Yeah. And it's incredibly fruitful. And especially with culinarians, you see how when they get a menu item on your menu, and how proud they are of that menu item. And this kid, his sauce, every time we talk about a sauce, he just lights up, right? That makes me feel good. That makes him feel good. That makes the operation feel good. And it matters because it's a damn good sauce. So you can see it's like just winning all over the place.
Yeah. That's great.
You have to be very tactful about how you shut them down, though.
And, not to toot my friend's horn here, but that's amazing leadership too. Like you didn't trip over that. Like you set that up. Now it happened maybe in a different way you thought it would have. Yeah. But that whole thing was... That's awesome.
Yeah, no,
thanks. I appreciate that. Fellas. Yeah, it's I've done things done things the wrong way for quite a bit of time. You tend to learn from.
Well, and that's how you figure it out, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I think even if you didn't get a great sauce out of it, like
it still is great.
It's still a great story. Yeah. But also with the suggestion box, making the employee feel heard and educating them, and even if they have a good idea but can't be executed because of business reasons, helping them understand that I think is huge, and making them feel heard. Sure. So it's like, hey, why don't we get like a company delivery car and they're all Lamborghinis? It's like, all right, I like let's workshop this a little bit. Like,
let's dial it back.
Yeah. Financially, it may not be the best idea for our restaurant, as it's not on brand and it's also quite expensive. Yeah. So like those sorts of things are like, again, it helps the employee understand, okay, so money is a finite resource. We cannot just spend like crazy.
Right. No, this is multifaceted. I'm glad you brought that up because I don't think that's an angle I thought of. I'm just more concerned about the cautionary tale of making sure if their ideas aren't up to snuff that you let them down easy and in a very tactful, manageable way, and they take something out of it still.
Well, before critiquing the ideas, I have a question.
Yeah.
We're talking about a suggestion box, and everybody thinks about the typical box with the slot.
For sure.
Write it down, put it in there, whatever. But how does this actually work in the operations? Because I'm thinking about a restaurant group that I learned about a while back that did, I'm trying to remember, it was like the tagline was like, catch them doing something right.
Yeah.
And then they had like a marker board, and they had an area where the other employees, like Brian, I don't know, had a great interaction with a guest or whatever, handled a problem. And then I would say like, hey, Brian did this, and write it up there, and then everybody would kind of see it. And how do you execute the actual suggestion box, quote unquote?
So me personally, it's not a structured format. It's just a way of being for me because I've learned so often throughout time. And then again, what I've been subjected to. So to me, it's more just the way I walk, right? Because I'm always asking, I'm always open. And I think that's how I stumbled in the sauce. Yeah. There's a million ways to implement it though, and structured quarterly meetings, I think is probably the best idea. And then again, not a town hall meeting, but you get into breakout groups, right? Okay. So you take your cooks or people who work saute, fry, whatever, and you have one-on-ones with them. And you talk about what kind of pain they're going through. And then we list that out, and then we kind of figure out how do we solve this pain. Yeah. And you work in a collaborative group, and all of a sudden you find out it's one piece of equipment, or it's some small wares, or it's one menu item that you thought was great, but you didn't realize there's 12 steps to it and 4 pans to pick up, and it's a nightmare and crashes the system. And so that to me is the best way to go about it, especially if you, again, grew up in kitchens in the late 90s, so I was a little grizzled and maybe even abused. So it's always top of mind for me for the inclusivity thing. Yeah. But if it's not, and you're not dealing with that type of mentality, I would definitely get something on the calendar with your folks. Front of the house and back of the house, I think this is a worthy exercise. The big thing though is I think as a leader, try to stay out of it as much as possible. That's always my goal. Because I have a tendency as a leader, maybe I'm slightly alpha, when they start getting me on the idea train, just like this podcast, I get a lot of energy and I start running. And the next thing you know, I just bulldozed everybody. So it became my meeting. I want to make sure it's their meeting. And then I'm taking notes and I'm taking lists and I'm encouraging the conversation, directing it, adding to it, but I'm not running it. Does that make sense?
I think that's super important, because what's going in my brain as you're saying that is like, all this sounds awesome, but where are the places that could totally screw up and actually become negative? You know what I mean? For sure. And I think that's part of it. Also, like handling the critique of like, okay, that's not a great idea. Like, how do you handle that without, you know, in a tactful way?
Right.
But that takes a lot of people skills. That's a lot of EQ.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think this is one of those culture things that you cannot just give lip service to. It's like, oh, we have an open door policy, but do never bring me bad, never bring me bad news. As long as it's good news, you can bring me as much as you want. Like, but we're never going to change or improve.
Why is the door locked?
Yeah, like, it's like, what's with 3 deadbolts?
Yeah. Why 3? But, you know, again, I'm more free-forming this. I haven't done anything structured, and I'm kind of thinking it might be a good idea, because I know there's like some quiet people in our group.
Yeah.
But it's very common for me to be on my couch at midnight texting a kitchen manager about a new menu idea or a reel that we saw or how to implement it.
Yeah.
That's very common. But it's very good for leadership to interact with these people who otherwise don't sit in the meetings or don't have that kind of accessibility to myself or whoever. But we use GroupMe a lot, so there's a lot of ideation in there.
Are you texting them on their personal time, or
only if they come at me? Only if they come at me.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. We call it the golden retriever rule.
Okay.
All right. And so if the golden retriever has a ball, you don't have to throw it. But once you throw it, it's on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so be ready to throw it multiple times.
That's
if there's a late night text sent, because we've talked about this with the GroupMes and other channels of communication. So if I send you a text at like 11:30 because I saw something cool, had a good idea, I don't expect you to respond. But if you do respond,
it's on.
You better be ready.
Okay,
because,
I like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
because I'm going to keep bringing the ball back to you,
Yeah,
and you're going to have to keep throwing it.
Okay.
So I warn everybody.
I just go back to like our communication episode where we're talking about personal time texting versus the, I like that rule.
No, and I stick up with it, but I talk to them all the time. And we have someone I work with is the ultimate golden retriever. So I warn people, like, be very careful, because this man stays up to 2 a.m. And he is nonstop. Right. So
I just leave that unread. Do it in the morning.
I just sent him a great menu idea. And I was expecting it to be implemented in the next couple weeks. It's a little thing I saw on TikTok. Very impressed. I'll surprise the audience. So the next time they go to your place,
I love it.
You can call it the Brian, whatever you want to call it.
I'm into it.
I sent the TikTok, so I don't know if I had as much contribution as the young man who made the sauce, but quite a bit.
Well, listen, you talk about, there's not many people that can match his energy. So we bring on someone that's going to work directly to him. I make sure with him, make sure that they know, they know the golden retriever rule, because unless you're energetic and you're that passionate, get ready for the onslaught, because here it comes in the best of possible ways. Of course, it's amazing. But again, I think it's important that you gather input mostly than offer your own input and kind of take it in. I love the breakout group thing. I think that's important, because in large groups, people get shy, but put them in small groups and then monitor the room. It's a healthy exercise. And then also, too, when you're doing that, look for the excitement, look for the arguments, look for the engagement, right? Because when you're in a meeting room and you see that table perk up and they're laughing, go find out what's funny. Or if they're arguing, go find out what they're arguing about. Maybe you can help, or also, but that's probably a really good issue to tackle because they're emotional about it, right?
This is the professor. And
I love that.
I know, right? This is good. I love that. I think it's impressive.
No, that's good. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. But then, too, if you can have the group present to the team and then you can break it out to the big ones, not a bad idea at all. But anyway, just consolidate the ideas, list, prioritize, develop a plan timeline, and then launch them. And I think that's, to me, is the best way to go about it. But again,
in the start, maybe just like you said, it just in your head, you're just going to start engaging in more conversations, asking for more input, going through those things. And that could be the start, because this, to me, like, I tend to get in the weeds and details, and sometimes it can stall me out, because I think like, okay, I'm going to do this. This is great. But then I'm thinking of all the things that could go wrong. And I'm like, well, maybe this isn't right. Like, can I make sure I do this right? Can I execute it, without creating friction and issues with the culture? You know what I mean? Because it could if you do it wrong. You know what I mean?
No, listen, we've all had jobs where stuff's been handed down by corporate or by leadership that we adamantly disagree with, right? And given that we're independents and we're in the independent world, we don't have to fall prey to that toxicity there. Because I, as a chef, again, that you get the menu item, like, how am I going to execute this? It's 5 more SKUs I got to pick up. I don't even like cooking this food. I don't even think the dish is that good. Well, and in this instance, joke was on me. That dish was on the menu for 12 years. In fact, I just saw him doing it on Fox 8 about a year ago. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's the same dish.
Damn ego. Ego, you were wrong that time.
I'll tell you what, though, it was a full circle moment, because I was scrolling through social media and I saw the chef that worked under me he was an intern under me. And then, like, he's doing that dish on TV in 2024. And I'm like,
you have no soul. I turned that down.
And this instance happened in like 2008. And that dish had the staying power to be on the menu for 14 years. So
Anthony's that guy that bought pizza with Bitcoin.
Yeah. He's like, it's like this stuff's never going above $1.
Yeah. Well, the good news is I did put it on the menu. The bad news is that I got served humble pie, and then but that was a good exercise.
That's life. I love it.
That was great.
That's a funny story.
I was open to it.
Yeah.
But my jaw dropped when I saw it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! And they're still doing this the exact same way. And I remember writing I have the recipes on my computer, and I'm like, damn it, they didn't even change a thing.
Oh my God!
On one hand, I was proud I did a good job. On the other hand, I was like, I was an idiot. I should have shut up and just made the dish because it was an ordeal.
I know, but it's.
We're putting that Fox 8 episode in the show notes.
I love the fire of youth, and like again, ego is the enemy, but there is a little bit of ego in someone young, and we talk about the young lions. It's one of those things that you don't want to stomp out, and to kind of go full circle with your episode is how do you take suggestions without really, which we talked about, but without really crushing the person's soul.
And as Dave said, that's the hardest part. You got to have a high level of EQ. And I think I do pretty well in that department, so it's not hard for me to navigate tough conversations with keeping everybody intact. But not everybody's skill set, right? There's a lot of things I suck at. I just happen to be at that one good thing. So just be careful, and when in doubt, punt. Don't say anything at all. And then just deal with it later. But ultimately, I think to wrap this up, I think it's important that we as operators and we as leaders understand that we have a lot of really great people working for us, that we pay a lot of money. They have a lot of different experience sets. It's a shame not to listen to them in helping you push your organization forward.
I agree. I think the diversity of people's experiences are tremendous, and everyone's life path is so much different. So to leverage that and to use some of that, it's cool, and I think it's something that we all should lean into.
Yeah. No, awesome stuff, Anthony. This is great.
No, that's very
appreciate
cool
you from the break room to the boardroom. I love it.
That's a good episode.
That was a great episode.
I like that. I like the stories.
Man.
I got to try the sauce now, and now
got the sauce
and the dish.
There you go. Yeah, we're gonna do it. So appreciate you guys listening. Check out restauranttopia.com and get signed up for the newsletter.
Yeah, and you'll find the dish there.
Because
12 years strong.
Because not only Anthony dishes out amazing episodes, but he also puts together a badass newsletter that comes out every other week.
I appreciate that, man.
It's really cool. A lot of industry info and not just fluff. Like it's real deal stuff that you can take and implement in your restaurant along with the episode. So
and if you have any dishes that you've seen in Miami that you'd like Anthony to deconstruct and put on your menu, he's open for hire. Hired gun,
pal.
Mercenary.
Love it. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.